What we need to understand is even the best of people that we may be, when the chips are down, we can do some of the most dastardly things to get out from a trap in some way. The whole story of the Holocaust is summed up in the sentence, "This was done by ordinary people." This was done by ordinary people. If you have ever talked to, I got a letter once from a man who used to be a minister of music in a church. I didn't realize that. He'd heard the radio program, had a Master of Divinity, and he was on death row. And he wrote what he had done, what he'd committed. He said, "I never ever dreamed of the day. This is the way I will spend the rest of my life and what my destiny is now. Never dreamed for a moment I would be doing what I did. That's ended me up on death row. And I just want to thank you for your books and tapes as I await the chair. This is now my only food and my diet, but I never dreamed it would happen to me." And he ended by saying, "By the way, there are many other ministers out here." The human heart, lust, greed, pride, all possible with the fall of the human heart. And so the answer is in the regeneration of the human heart, the turning of that human heart so it changes your hungers and changes what we do. That's the storyline. God's created you for a purpose and me for a purpose. We rebelled against him. The condition now is fallen for all of humanity and all of creation. By the new birth within our heart, he changes our hungers and changes our desires. He sends us his only Son so that he can see that we were conformed to be the image of his Son. And when you look at the beauty and the power of Christ, that's what we were designed to look like. So it's a story. That's the storyline. If you don't believe that meta-narrative, try and believe the meta-narrative of the counter-perspectives. Try and listen to the storyline of the skeptic. Time plus matter plus chance, here we are from primordial slime, poof. They don't ask what happened with the Big Bang. If a little vase falls in the middle of the night, they'll want to know what caused the little bang. But they don't worry about what caused the Big Bang, what brought the world itself into existence. How does a man and woman consummate love and a little life is conceived? What do you see when you see a father holding his little boy's hand walking side by side and see the beauty of a relationship there? A baby in the arms of a mother being nursed into strength. The magnificence of all. There's a storyline. God has made us for himself, says Augustine, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in him. How do we come to the heart of what it means to love? The heart of love is expressed in the cross of Jesus Christ. You can turn to page after page after page of every religious book in the world. You will never find what you will find in the Gospels on the Passion of our Lord. It is so unique. It stands in stark contrast. So the Buddha occultates, so whatever it is, he's gone for moksha or nirvana. Muhammad, there are only two houses, the house of war and the house of Islam. Pantheism of the Hindu variety, karma, 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 pay, 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 till you are liberated from this cycle of rebirths. Jesus comes to you and to me, and he says, "I'm come that you might have life, and that you might have it more abundantly." Think of the Lord of the universe. I want to give you 2 or 3 little side footnotes on it. He's on the cross. This is the moment for which he came. All of history is hinged at this moment. It's the crux, literally the crux of history, the cross. He's paying the price for salvation for all of humankind. And he looks at a young man and says, "That's now your mother. Take care of her." And he looks at his mother and says, "That's your son." This is the Lord of glory. So the women come to the garden and they're despondent. And he looks at her and says, "Mary." This personal value is displayed both from the cross and the resurrection. Go and tell my disciples and Peter. This is God who's calling people by name. That's who he is. Individual worth. And when you understand the love of God, you will be much more patient with a hostile world. You may never hear a sermon on the love of God from a pulpit in a mosque, but you will hear it time and time and time again from a pulpit in a church. That is the core of what was displayed on Good Friday. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Crescendo of voices called for the release of a criminal and sent the innocent one to be crucified. In the greatest trial, these moralists were asking for a criminal to be released and the one who was spotless to be slaughtered. That's how we are when we raise questions of God. We are exalting ourselves over the very one who came to pay the price with his life. Elie Wiesel, the Jewish thinker, talks about the time he was in Auschwitz and 3 people were being hanged and they were forced to see it. 2 died instantly. A young man struggled and struggled and struggled. And a voice from the onlookers, somebody shouted, "Where is God? Where is he? Where is God? Where is he?" And Elie Wiesel says, out of nowhere, there seemed to come this voice within me that says, hanging on the gallows, where else? Jürgen Moltmann, the scholar, the German scholar, says, only in the Christian faith would that answer make sense, not anywhere else. You know, horrible evil is what we face. It's unexplainable. The Ghetto Boys sang 1991, "She begged me not to kill her, I gave her a rose, then slit her throat, watched her shake till her eyes closed, had sex with a corpse before I left her, and drew my name on the wall like helter-skelter." It is philosopher after philosopher like Eleanor Stump and Alvin Plantinga and all who said it's not the garden variety evil that traps us, it's the horrific evil that we see, and that's why the cross has such stark reality. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I want you to understand, sometimes in looking at evil, the heart gets harder and harder and harder. Follow me very closely now, please. The heart gets harder and harder and harder. 5 are killed in a school, next time it takes 7 to get the same response, then 9 to get the same response, then 10, then tsunami, this sort of stuff. If you see evil all the time, you get hardened to it. But if you walk into a place where evil has been and you see a tiny little body broken, and maybe an old woman binding the wounds of a broken body, your heart will melt at that sight. It will take goodness to tenderize your heart again, because constant exposure to evil will harden it. Follow what I'm saying? And if we focus only on the evil of this world, we'll get harder and harder and harder. Take a look at the cross so it tenderizes your heart and you begin to see evil through the eyes of God. You don't look at evil, you look through it. When goodness comes into view, it cracks a hard heart open again and makes it vulnerable once more to the hope and the light of the power of goodness. Which leads me to the next step, and that is this 5th one, that in the end, the cross does not point at evil outside, the cross points at evil within. And the cross points at evil within. Evil is ultimately not outside you, evil is inside. That's where we go. Evil is not outside you, evil is inside. If you take that notion, you deal with evil starting from within. God is the author, there's a story. The script is the fall and the return. The object is worship and love. We see it in the cross, and what we see at the cross in the end is the human heart Evil is not outside, evil is inside. The mystery is there. The problem is encroached upon itself. We are in the problem. God bless you.